I give a lot of presentations, and when I say ANZAC, everybody goes, oh yeah, ANZAC. Then I'll say, okay, Gallipoli, yes, Gallipoli. Tobruk, oh, of course, Tobruk. Greece, huh? Were we there? Crete, we were never there. Little do people realise that, 85% of our POWs, the Australian POWs, were taken in Greece and Crete in the campaigns. But people don't realise that. James mentioned that I'm trying to work now on putting together a nominal roll for Greece and Crete. The problem is that the service records that are online, and any service records, have great big gaps in them. The B103s, which are the service record forms, there were 3 copies of these. There was a travelling copy, a base copy, and a unit copy. And they were meant to be married up, but they were never married up. So when you look at what is online at the moment, they have 3 months gap, 4 months gap, sometimes 2 years gap in them. As we go through here, these are just some of the photographs I have in my collection at home, but unfortunately I've got them off eBay. But when you go to eBay, that's what actually motivates me to do this and to collect stories. People sell medals on eBay. They're granddads, I don't want them. Oh, a diary, what's a diary mean to me? I can get $50 for this. And to me, that is such a horrible shame. The Battle of Greece, the Battle of Crete, or for that matter, any conflict that Australians have fought in, people have forgotten the significance of it. And the collection of small stories, these little stories that people talk about around their dinner table, I firmly believe that a story told is a life lived. If you can tell a story, the life goes on. And if we can do that for the younger generation, then it's not going to sell everything. I mean, some of the stories, as I said, I give presentations, and some of the stories I've collected are absolutely amazing. And when people find out I do work in military history, people love to tell you stories. One of the guys I drink coffee with, he said, oh yeah, my great-granddad, he was on Gallipoli. Charles Augustus Littler. By reputation, he was the very last man to leave Gallipoli, I found out. Or the 4 Salmon brothers from Dubbo. 3 of them went to Greece and Crete, all returned safely. 4 Salmon brothers. They're known as the 4 fighting fish. This is not connected really to Greek heritage, but I've also found a Japanese, born of Japanese parents in Bendigo, full-blooded Japanese who fought in Greece and Crete, and then went on to fight in Kokoda, while his mother was interned. Now this last photograph came up at the right time. Something special about this photograph, and maybe somebody more learned can tell me, these are Greek POWs. Look at the blanket. Isn't that an Australian blanket? I think it may well be an Australian blanket. And that really attracted my attention when I saw that photograph. We'll go on a bit quick here. Greek POWs, you'll see our POWs, you'll see with the Greek POWs in these photographs as we go through. During the German occupation, again, as I say, during World War II, the Germans had excellent cameras and they were allowed to carry cameras with them. So you find great collections of photographs. I think it was 1934, the World Fair in Vienna. They introduced a compact camera, a Leica, and many of the German servicemen took it with them. Australians weren't allowed to take cameras. Over Crete. I've only got 20 minutes. Go. This is what I want to show you. Now, when we talk about the Battle of Greece and the Battle of Crete, in the records, we find it basically says, owing to the loss of practically all records. So trying to reconstruct the nominal roll is a very difficult thing now. On the Costa Rica, at least 2 battalions lost all records. Another battalion lost their records in a truck fire at Napleon. Another battalion lost all their records when somebody knocked off the knapsack down in Stark Yard before the evacuation. They never got that back. So many of the war diaries are reconstructed from memory. But you still find some great stuff in the records. It's a train warrant loading the, I think it's the 2nd Field Regiment onto a train in Larissa. Now, here's a couple of excerpts from the service records. And there you'll see a gap of almost a year. They've never been married up. Can they go? There, next one. Now, this is the sort of thing I like to see. Presume. Yeah. Presume. Now, this is in the service record. It says, presume to have embarked for Greece. Another one. Disembarked in the Middle East, presumably from Greece. So there's no real record. All the embarkation for the convoys from Alexandria, they're gone. What I've been doing is, with the support of the committee, I've been going through all the books, I've been going through all the war diaries, personal diaries. I now have approximately 18,000 Australian servicemen and women confirmed. Now, this means, if somebody wants to know, did a family member go to Greece or Crete, I can tell you. And up until now, I don't think it's been done. Now, in the records, you also find this. Basically, what this is saying is, it's a response to a letter written in saying, I'd like to be, apply for the award of the Greek medal. And the army is saying, oh, sorry, you weren't there. Our records say you weren't there. Yet this guy had written in saying, well, I served, I was there. I was there. Now, what you'll find a list of the units that served in Greece and Crete in most of the books, but there's a lot of units that aren't there in those lists. The 2nd Ninth, people say, oh, the 2nd Ninth never went. Yes, they did. 30 men were shanghaied in Haifa by a captain and taken directly to Crete. The 2nd Tenth, reinforcements were going to the 2nd Tenth. They were on the train. They got to Alexandria, that's as far as they got. They were pushed onto the boat and sent to Greece. Yet these units are not listed as having gone. And I said I like personal stories. Well, as I've been going through, I've found some great stories. In the personal diaries, in the records, 2 friends. Inseparable they were. Everybody said they were inseparable. Arthur Key and Charlie Locke. These 2 guys went through the campaigns as inseparable buddies. A father and son enlisted together, fought together, died together, memorialised in Greece together. 2 mates from Dubbo enlisted together, fought together, captured together, drowned together in 1944 trying to escape from a German prisoner of war camp. These are the sort of stories that we don't hear, and that we will never hear unless we can impart a great significance and an awareness to other people. As I said, you're all here because you know about the Battle of Greece, the Greek campaign and the Battle of Crete. But outside, people just don't know about it. I mean, I'm thinking, that's terrible. People should know about it. But when I think back, before I started work on this, I didn't know. I knew, they'd been to Crete. They'd been to Greece, but that's all I knew. And now, once I've started to look into it, I have to hold myself back saying, why don't you know? It's so important. 18,000 Australians, and that's only the Army service personnel. I haven't even started to look at the Navy or the Air Force, and I will never, or we will probably never be able to pick up the Australians who served in British units. They're gone forever. So I think, I'll keep going. This is the sort of thing I want to put together with and put on the committee's website. Nick and I have been talking about this, where it's like an annotated database with all the information I've gathered. Now, the DVA, certainly you can pick bits and pieces out there to put on this, but this column comes from the war diaries, comes from the battalion histories, comes from the routine orders, comes from the daily orders, comes from personal diaries, comes from the AWM. And what we would hope in the future, once this is online, is that people can further contribute to this. I believe we need to encourage research into this. And from the Greek side as well, we have very few people living who were witness to the events. Very few. And if we don't get their information very, very soon, it'll be gone. Oh, now, I'll skip. How much longer have I got? Do you want me to skip? Do you want me to skip ahead? No? Look, what's happening now, I've been invited to take part in a project. And for me, it's an incredible way to promote the Battle of Crete. As you know, and as James told you, yes, I've been working on a wreck that I found in Western Crete. There's now funding coming through the EU, and what we want to do is to create augmented reality to tell the story of this and put it in the context of the whole Battle of Crete. Now, I'll skip that. I found the original plans for the vessel, and this is what we've been working on now. Reconstructing the vessel, and then we're going to place this within an augmented reality context where we can tell the story of the Battle of Crete. I'll keep going, let's skip ahead. There, we can do a swim over the wreck, but I'm not going to take you there. What we're talking about this as is dry diving, because there's a lot of material under the water, and unless you have the qualifications or you are given permission, you can't ever see it. So what we're doing is we're reconstructing the wreck site, putting it on an app where you can actually use this to go dry diving and explore the wreck. Now this is, you can watch this, it's only really short. This is what we're planning.
On Crete's west coast, enclosed by steep rocky cliffs, is the archaeological site of ancient Thalassaena. The city of Thalassaena was built as a fortified harbour in the 4th century BC as part of a plan to prevent Alexander the Great's empire from further expansion. Continued excavations have revealed fascinating chapters from the city's dramatic history. Today, the ruins and remains of this unique ancient port are on dry land and difficult to understand for the untrained eye. However, now it is possible to experience the rise and fall of ancient Thalassaena on location by means of the Thalassaena app. The Thalassaena simulation employs a quasi-mixed reality solution, where today's real environment is represented on the screen as a 3D model based on photogrammetry. This makes it easier to explain current remains and add virtual reconstructions.
The tower would have been over 20 metres tall and stood out as a landmark in ancient times.
When using the app, visitors can also explore the harbour as it may have looked in 330 BC.
Thalassaena was left with a magnificent military port.
Study particular artifacts in close-up and detailed view.
The letters FA and pictures of a trident and the head of a goddess.
Witness the Roman attack of Thalassaena in 69 BC.
A Roman army attacked Thalassaena and destroyed it. They used siege engines, which threw round stones from hundreds of metres away to destroy buildings. More than 30 catapult stones have been found. This stone has the Roman inscription XX, indicating that it weighed 20 pounds.
And consult map view for easy navigation.
So this is what we want to do with the Battle of Crete, to situate the wreck and the reconstructed wreck within the whole historical context of the Battle of Crete. I'll skip right to the end, because I think I've had my 20 minutes. Basically, this is what we want to do. We want to extend the timeline of Thalassaena and put in a final chapter in the military history of this site.